Greetings, my dear Earthlings. Today I am instructed to give you a message of utmost importance. Now begins the most crucial stage of your planet's entry into the space of the fifth dimension. Now it isn't possible to reverse the process, because all the celestial bodies that accompany the Earth entered the stage of the complete transformation, and the main of them. This is, of course, the Sun and the Moon, which affect all life processes on your planet. What is happening now with the Sun? It turned out to be in a whirlwind stream of incredible power, which is called upon to draw from it the second sun, its feminine half, which will gradually supplant the masculine. Something that becomes too tough for a new fifth-dimensional Earth. The climate on which will vary significantly. This new Mother Sun will provide on the Earth a soft, even climate, very comfortable for all its inhabitants. I know that already now some of you could see the second sun, but while it was its manifestation, rather, on the subtle plane of the Earth, and you could see it only under a certain confluence of circumstances. But soon it will take its rightful place on your horizon. The same goes for the Moon. It is rapidly changing its parameters, color, shape, location in the sky, and probably many of you have noticed that sometimes it rises from the horizon like the Sun, illuminating the vast space around you, and its disk hits you with its size. So, its transformation takes place. Gradually it loses its functions of the night celestial body, because on the Earth of the fifth dimension the boundaries between day and night will be erased, which too was a manifestation of duality. Just as there is good and evil, light and darkness, the night always aroused fear among people, was associated with various superstitions, with the arrival of evil forces. And there is some truth in this, for just as darkness is the reverse side of light, so night is the reverse side of the day. That's why all the witch rituals and other dark cases were created from time immemorial at night. But since in the new Earth of the fifth dimension darkness cannot survive, it will simply dissolve in the light of the highest vibrations of the fifth dimension, then the night is a physical manifestation of darkness on Earth cannot exist anymore. Thus, the Moon, which is an integral part of the night, will have to be transformed into another body that will harmoniously blend with the new conditions of life on Earth. This is what will happen very soon. And the beginning of this will be laid by a total lunar eclipse on July 27, 2018. The body of the Moon will be reborn, and it, continuing to be an artificial satellite of the Earth, will take on quite different functions. It will balance the Earth's magnetic field, which, incidentally, it did before, but now, having entered into resonance with the new parameters of your planet, it will also become a kind of energy regulator, contributing to their uniform distribution throughout the planet. On the physical plane, this will not occur instantaneously, and for a while the night will still change the day, but gradually these boundaries will be erased. I know, my dear, that for many of you this sounds like a fantasy now, but believe that soon it will become your reality and you will get used to it pretty quickly, because the new parameters of these heavenly bodies will go to your benefit and bring to your life only pleasant sensations. And this message should prepare you for the coming changes on your planet and, most importantly, protect you from panic and fear that is so characteristic of a person at the sight of everything unfamiliar and unusual. Ashtar Sheran, sincerely fond of you, spoke with you.
On behalf of the Galactic Federation and the spiritual hierarchy, we greet you. We would like to assure you that we are of the light, and that we come to you in the service of your Creator to assist and advise you so that you may better understand and react to the changes which will soon be upon you and your planet. With your limited vision, and your relationship with self-centeredness and conflict, you may be tempted to suspect that we have come to harm or to conquer you. There are indeed forces in your universe who might have such intentions, but their powers have been largely neutralized at this time. I have already assured you and gladly assure you once again that we are of the light, and that we are here for your benefit. The time has now come for a general movement upwards, a sorting of those who are ready to move up, and those who are not. Your planet is to be cleansed physically as well as on the spiritual level, for she has suffered much harm in acting as your host. It is important that you have some idea of what lies immediately ahead and why it is to take place, so that you may prepare yourselves. This is our first task. You have collectively made great advances in science and technology, but in so doing, you have often neglected another important source of information, namely your intuition, in your obsession with things physical, things which can be seen, felt, measured and tested, you have gained the impression that if you cannot see or feel it, it cannot therefore exist. Your eyes are closed to any possibilities outside your own area of recognition. But I must tell you, that there is more unseen than is seen, there is more uncomprehended than comprehended, there is more to your world and your universe than you could presently imagine. The density of matter is important. Physical objects have different densities, people's physical frames have different densities, so also do worlds. We are of a lighter, finer density than you, as also are the manifestations which you call spirits or ghosts. Place some pebbles in a sieve, then pour water over them and see how the finer density of water allows it to pass around the denser pebbles. That is why ghosts can pass through walls. That is how our spacecraft can move about invisibly to your eyes, though we are able to make ourselves visible to your senses at will. That is why there is so much going on around you that is invisible to your eyes. Planet Earth at present exists on the densest possible level as a reflection of the environment in which you live and conduct yourselves and the lessons you have chosen to learn. Each planet or universe or civilization has its constitution, similar in spirit and intent to the constitutions of your more evolved governments. The concept of constitution is to lay down the outer, absolute boundaries of approved behavior beyond which neither individuals nor governments may pass. Planet Earth has been given the gift of free will, as have many others, but unlike others, your free will has been given without boundaries. Thus you have been able to go to extremes of violence and self-gratification at the expense of others, extremes which in other civilizations would not be permitted. In this way you yourselves, and all of us who observe you and experience your world by correlation, can learn of the effects which such actions can set in motion. But this situation will shortly come to an end, for now is a time of sorting and of moving upwards. It is a time of revision, of assessment, of taking new paths. It includes your entire planet, and indeed a much wider circle of worlds beyond your own. Your planet is to be cleansed, and its people will move to new worlds according to their evolution and aspirations, in order to learn new lessons in new environments. This will give each individual the opportunity to review his or her life and attitudes, and to consider the kind of future to which he or she aspires. Having given you just a brief idea of what is to happen very shortly around you, I must now tell you of the task we have been given by Earth's spiritual guides and hierarchy, and how we propose to set about fulfilling our responsibilities. It is our intent to use what in your language might be referred to as the carrot and the stick. The stick is not, as you might at first think, a weapon to be raised in aggression or anger or envy. This is not our way. Indeed, the constitution of our lives and civilization does not permit any of these things. The stick we will use is a rod of protection, and it is strict, tolerating no exceptions. Already you will find that your weapons of war are losing their effectiveness. Over time these physical weapons will disintegrate into dust. Their aura of aggression and anger will be neutralized along with their physical form. You will also find that anything used as a weapon of aggression, even a stick or a fist raised in anger, will be stayed by an unseen hand. Ultimately, you will find that when any words are to be spoken in anger or aggression, the voice of the speaker will falter as if gently choking, so that such words may not be expressed. Finally, as the din of war is gradually stilled and a spirit of peace descends upon your planet, we hope to reinforce it with an all-enveloping blanket of love and goodwill. You must understand that although you may think that victory is an achievement providing its rewards, you should know that the continuance of war and competitive aggression, which is a constant feature of your planet, has taken its toll upon your emotions and your senses, creating a continuing tension. As this burden is progressively lifted, you will find yourselves lightening, becoming more joyful, more able to see the beauty around you and the light in the souls of others. Perhaps you, with your tradition of total free will, may feel that this is an unwarranted intrusion into your liberty, although you may well agree in principle that the neutralization of all anger and aggression, together with all weapons of war, will be a wonderful thing. You may not feel altogether comfortable with its imposition by an alien and foreign force, yet I must tell you that such rules are not unusual. Indeed, your planet is almost unique in permitting such activities, which are not within the constitutional bounds of other civilizations. Many of you may also feel that while an end to violence is a good thing in principle, it is necessary first of all to repay debts, to claim the eye for the eye, but I must tell you that such vendettas, such acts of violence followed by counter-violence in the name of honor, these acts have been going on for centuries in your collective lives. Somewhere, at some time, the perpetuation of violence must stop. This is now the place and the time. I must also explain that if we are to help you, as we have been instructed to do, we must first ask you to be still. We cannot help and advise those who are too busy killing one another to listen to our words. If you could see your planet from outer space as we do all the time, you would see a murky aura of accumulated hate and aggression, and your ears would be deafened by the constant clamor and din of war, the shooting and the bombs, the cries of the wounded and the dying, and the destruction of so much of the physical assets of your civilization which you have previously built with expenditure of great effort and planetary resources. If only the effort you have put into destruction and rebuilding could have been directed into preserving and enhancing, of building upon building, imagine how rich your civilization would now appear. But that is your destiny, and it is not for us to question it, only to point out that if you are to listen, to be informed, to improve your conduct and make a right decision when needed to do so, then you must first be stilled. Our stick will be the rod of protection, ensuring that acts of aggression are halted so that the clash of war may be stilled and the spirit of aggression, of violence and revenge may be quietened. The carrot of persuasion will take the form of suggestions as to how you may conduct your lives more peaceably, more spiritually, with the reward that in so doing you may be more ready to move to a higher level of being. It is a hope that as you pause for a moment in your aggression and counter-aggression, when your ears are no longer filled with the din of war and your senses not fully preoccupied with getting the better of others before they get the better of you, in that stillness and space of neutrality you may be persuaded to begin afresh, and to build for yourselves a society where relationships are based on mutual respect, non-aggression and cooperation, on construction rather than destruction. A daunting, perhaps even impossible task. No. Indeed, it is much easier done than imagined. In other societies more developed than your own, there is one guiding principle of conduct between people. It is a simple rule. First, do no harm. You must start early with your very youngest children, as we also do, teaching them what is to us the most important rule of life: respect others as you would have them respect you. Think no unkind thoughts, say no unkind words, for one only puts others down in order to make oneself feel greater. Learn to value yourself for what you are. Build upon your incarnated foundation, develop yourself and your natural gifts, remembering only that you should enrich your own life without impoverishing that of others. Emotionally, spiritually or physically, your governments too must reform themselves rapidly, for despite the belief which many hold that they live in a democracy, in truth few people trust their governments to act competently, honestly and efficiently. The purpose of government, in the words of your Thomas Jefferson, is to prevent men from injuring one another. If only you had but one government which did just that, which ensured peace and true social justice among its people, acting productively without undue waste, with honesty and transparency, with the interests of the people, its customers, at heart, you would never believe the beneficial, almost magical effect it would have. With that one principle, there would be physical plenty for all to live challenging and rewarding lives in a pleasant environment on a respected planet. As you shed your aggressive competitiveness, competing only with ignorance to create knowledge, competing only with poverty to create wealth which all may share, conducting your collective lives according to the principle of mutual respect and cooperation, so all the dark, dank places you have created for yourselves will be changed and brightened. Those who have been put down will find new freedom to make their own contribution, and the harm done to your host planet can slowly be undone. There will be little enough time for this new spirit to take root, but if you can only pause from your aggression long enough to enjoy the stillness of peace, if you can order your collective affairs according to universal laws long enough to glimpse the rewards of peace, justice and cooperation, and if experiencing these things each of you can profit from your new environment in order to review your personal attitudes, your approach to yourself and to others, you will then be in a position to embrace a brighter future. It is our wish to remain with you, and to communicate with you constantly in order to give you a wider view of that which you cannot see, of developments around you and how they will affect you, and in our behavior towards you. We will show you the creative, nurturing power of love, of mutual caring and assistance, which we hope that you too will embrace among yourselves.
I'm Kara. I appreciate again these moments that I can be here and share with you and continue to move along this process now that has begun, this new phase that I have spoken of, as well as many of our brethren have spoken of, for there are many changes occurring at this time. You are beginning to feel them yourselves more and more. You're experiencing them in your waking state, as well as your dream state. Many of you are realizing now your dream states are much more than what you had come to believe. They are so much more. As you continue to experience these altered states of consciousness, I will call them, you are realizing that you are so much more, have always been, always will be. For you, all of us are a part of the great oneness of all things. We are all here now, all of us. We, the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Andromedans, the Antarians, and so on, are all here now to bring this process, this ascension process, to a culmination. And along the way, we have certain operations that we have been attending to. I spoke once before about the prime directive and how we have to follow that prime directive. But now we have been given the go-ahead to move the prime directive along and call it now prime interference. For we can, more and more, to interfere. We are doing so by showing ourselves to many more of you across the entire planet, uncloaking our ships in many respects, though only those who do have the eyes to see can view us. For many times there will be those who will look at the sky and see us in our ships, and there will be others around who will not see what you are seeing. They will be looking in the same direction. They will not see. Because you are seeing beyond the veil, you are seeing into the higher dimensions, getting those glimpses that have been spoken of many times. This is the process now that is happening, and we, in our ships, are watching all of the proceedings here on the planet, and able more and more to interfere, whenever it is possible, whenever it does not interfere with your freedom of choice. We cannot do that. But if your choice is that we would interfere, then we can now more and more. So we ask now, all of you, not only those of you in this group on this call, but all of those who would read and hear these words, we ask you now, to ask for our interference, ask for us to make ourselves more and more known, ask even for us to land when that is possible. Those times are coming when that will be more and more possible. I have spoken of first contact, as others are also speaking of first contact. But I want you to understand that first contact is not so much beaming you up, or landing our ships, and taking you aboard. First contact is even what we are doing at this time now. We are making contact with you now, and more we shall do so. We shall continue to make contact with you in many different ways, this being one of those ways. But very shortly, first contact, as you are knowing it now, will proceed into a more physical interaction and a reunion of those of us with those of you who are ready for this. And you must understand that those of the ascended masters who have been working diligently with you through this one I speak through now, and through many others, we have been preparing you for those times when we can reunite, and we long for reunification, long to come together again with those of our brothers and sisters who left long ago, left from the stars, and came to this planet, to become a part of this evolution here, and see the light returning to the planet, and see the light now you are, and feel the light now you are. For as the light continues to come into this planet, and into your bodies are taking this light and anchoring it for others, to be able to hold and share. But as this light comes in, it is changing your very molecular structure in ways that you are not yet fully aware of. But even science now is beginning to become aware of these changes in your DNA as these downloads continue to come in and continue to alter your DNA, bringing it back to the pristine 12 strands that it once was. Now, of course, that will not happen overnight. for your bodies would not be able to withstand it. You would have to leave your body for that to be. But your bodies are altering and changing slowly enough so that you can go through these miraculous changes, and your carbon body is shifting to a more complex crystalline form. Not that you will no longer have your physical body, you will, and it will be as if seemingly nothing has changed, but your physical body itself will be altered through this process. But do not have any fear whatsoever of this process, because all is being monitored constantly. You, each one, have those who are monitoring your progress, and are making sure that it is not too much for your central nervous system to handle at any given time, unless, of course, it is within your contract to do so. That is so for some, but for most of you now, that is not the case. You are preparing the way, not only for others, but for yourselves as well, for yourselves to merge back and once again with your multi-dimensional selves, and therefore your higher God self. And that, my friends, is ascension. Be ready for it because, as your saying goes, things are going to ramp up quite a bit now. Questions with Kara. I am Kara, and I am going to, with the permission of those who work through this group, I am now going to take questions, if you have questions. And also, Shoshana, we believe, is standing by, is she not? Shoshana, channeled by Joanna McConnell. Yes. Kara, very good. We will take questions if you have. The one who serves will return certainly at another time to work through this process. But as I say, I have been given permission to do this now. Would there be any questions? Guest, yes. Beautiful Kara, thank you for being here with us. We feel your beautiful presence. I have been given that I am somehow connected in some way to Archangel Jichini. I was wondering if you happen to know of her, know much of her, or if you could say something about her. Kara, what I can tell you here is that there are many angels and archangels, many more than you have yet come to understand. You have those, what you would call the regular ones who are associated more with this evolution here, have stayed on here, you might say, and have been a part of this expression on this earth with Jaya, and with all of you, the human condition, we will say here. This one that you are speaking of is one that has not been a part of this particular evolution, but she has come forward now, as well as others will also, for there is much attention now toward this small little planet, here, your home for this time. And much attention has been brought here where there are those coming not only from this solar system, but this entire galaxy, and even galaxies beyond to witness this amazing transformation that is happening here on this planet, and with all of you. This has never been done before in this way, and many are watching to see how this process will continue to transpire, and use it as a template for those who come after. For there are many worlds, many more than you can even imagine at this time, that are in this three-dimensional state also, and are going to be able to go through this process just as you have, but in a way that is more streamlined than you have had to do. You're the template. You're the way showers who are paving the way not only here on this planet for your brothers and sisters here, but for your brothers and sisters across the galaxy. Guest, thank you so much. Kara, yes. Would there be any other questions? Guest, I have a question. There was a transmission that I came across this past week, and they were referring to Lemuria and Atlantis, with Jaya shifting, and all of these beautiful islands that had sunk, that will be coming up from the oceans, and many more islands besides those, but also that there were some amethyst crystals, many crystals, even the quartz crystals throughout the world also would be rising, but that these particular ones were under Lake Tahoe, and there was another portion of it right next to it, maybe about another mile over, and that some of us were the keepers of this, and that we will be moved to go to these locations, and tend to these crystals once more as they come up. Any input on that at all? Kara, as you were saying, the islands or the lands that were once above the surface of the planet and had submerged, as happened with Atlantis and Lemuria, they shall rise again, along with the crystalline states across the planet as well. For just as your carbon-based body is changing now from the carbon to crystalline state, so too is the Earth herself changing from a carbon-based state to a crystalline state as well, also to be able to hold more and more of the light. She is going before you, though. She is changing much more rapidly than your bodies are at this time. And the crystals that you speak of are everywhere across the planet, and will begin to rise also. And there will be a need for those of you, those who are prepared for this at the time, and many of you that will be called for this were those who were in Atlantis, and worked closely with the crystals at those times. So that is correct, as you are saying. Shoshana, do you have something to add? Shoshana, I do not have anything to share with this one who asked the question. What we would say at this time is that we bow to you, and we are grateful for your presence here, my dear sister, Kara. Thank you, Kara. Wonderful. And we of the Pleiadian fleet feel the same about you, and your connection as Shoshana, and also as Joanna. That is for another time to speak more of. Shoshana, thank you, Kara. Did this answer your question, dear sister? Guest. Yes, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Kara, is there another question? Guest. Yes. Greetings, Kara. Last evening, in the transmission they related to me that the cloud craft that was hovering over my home at about 200 feet was in fact Syrian, and that it had to do with the past life. Akhenaten. What I would like to do is frame the question. I am making the statement because I have to frame it with that reference before I ask the question. The first thing is yes, I'd give the Pleiadians, I'd give your people, our people, and the Syrians, again my people also, full permission to interfere, and assisting with knowing that I came back and started researching. Having gone through a PhD, there is a 3D way we go through, the scientific method. However, I am out there trying to gather information and I am coming to a roadblock. I worked until 4 a.m. I took it as far as I could take it, finding the information, to thread everything together with the Syrians, Akhenaten, me, what's going on, and the Pleiadians. So, that information is not in libraries. So I am stating in my power, and I have the power and the abilities, to channel and download information. But I feel it is at a slow pace. I need assistance with the downloading of information, so I can access information that the libraries don't have. I know this is way out there, but it is the help that I need right now in putting together and accessing this information. Kara, it is not so much that it is way out there, it is that you are focused much more on the doing, rather than the being right now. You are worried about the information. You have mentioned that term several times here, the information. And the information that you are receiving at a download level, we will say here, is not what you are thinking it to be. In terms of it is not something you need to understand, you just need to simply be. You will not understand at your three-dimensional level. You will constantly be asking, what does this mean, and what does this mean, and how does this come together, and how does it all tie in together? And you cannot go about it from that point of view, not from where you are looking at it now, but as you rise up in consciousness, higher and higher, you will begin to understand how it all comes together without having to follow the information part of it. Does this make sense to you, guest? Yes, it makes total sense. So basically what I need to do is remain in my heart and let it be, and let the information blossom. Kara, yes, let it be. Yes, guest, got ya. Thank you, Kara. Much love, Kara. Shoshana, anything. Shoshana, well, Shoshana wishes to agree completely. And what we see in the human mind, that has moved forward to this PhD level did so with a great analytical ability, and a great ability to analyze, and put things together, so that they could progress in the 3D realm. And I believe that the one that is speaking referred to that. What is important here for all to hear and consider, is that analysis will slow us down. Analysis will make us think in 3D terms. What is important here is that we put aside speed, we put aside the idea that we must hurry through this, and we must get this information quickly, because that, again, is a 3D concept, as Kara has alluded to here. So for all who have analytical minds, which is a gift in the 3D realm. It is not so much a gift at the higher levels. Mammost. Karat. Yes. Very beautifully said, Sister Shoshana. Thank you. Guest. I have a question. I just want to say I love you, Sister Karat, and I feel very close to you. I have been feeling that many of us will have joined missions with you when you all land. Can you speak a little bit about that? Karat. Dear sister, you have yet no idea of your particular connection, and those of your loved ones around you, and the connection that you have with us. This is why I have been chosen to be the emissary to those of you in this group, and at this point, it is strictly this group where I am coming to. But know that these words that come through myself, as well as Shoshana, are meant for many more beyond this group. But you yourself are in process, dear one, for all that is coming through you as this ascension process continues on. That is all I am allowed to say at this time about this, for you will continue to have those downloads, those dreams, those waking experiences that you have been having, and they are going to increase many times over, because you are the angelic expression, just as you have believed you are. Guest. Now, thank you so much. I love you, and I look forward to sharing these experiences with everyone. Karat. Yes. Shoshana, I must share with this the one sister. I must share for all to hear, and this is the most important aspect of becoming the ascension process, becoming the ascended being, and that is to know the mission is here, it has begun, and the one sister, and many of you who are on this call are integral parts of this mission. What we hear, and what we hear through the Joanna, because she is relentless about this, is that the mission, the thought that you will be joining in a mission, is not so much the truth, because you are the mission, and the one known as this one sister must understand her great significance to all that would listen to her experiences in the dream state, which is not truly a dream state, but in the reality that she enters when her conscious third-dimensional mind leaves, and she enters these realms, is so significant to all that she is not going to have a mission in the future. She is having the mission now. Mammost. Karat. Wonderful. And we wish to add here that it is not only for this one who has asked this question, but for many of you who are on this call, that you are all in an expression of the now moment of your missions. So it is not so much a future event, it is a now event. Guest. Thank you both. Another guest. I have a question. Kara, I received a message that you have a personal message to me, and I was debating, should I ask or not? I was hesitant to ask you about it, if you will have a message for me. Kara, yes, and I can say that I myself, as Kara, do not have a message for you, but there is one here on our ships and our fleets who does have a message for you. I cannot tell you the name, that must come to you on your own, but ask within your waking state, or even your dream state, and ask for these messages to come. There is one who is waiting to begin to work through you, and with you here. Guest, I know who he is, but his was confirmation. Thank you. I appreciate that. Karat, yes, you are quite welcome. Yes, any further questions here? Guest, yes. Hi, I had a very profound synchronicity experience. I have been very attracted to music for quite some time, but there is this one instrumental song that just hits me in such a profound way, as I feel like I'm being held by the universe. When I hear it, I sort of follow this composer who created that sound, and I was reading about him, and I found that this one particular piece is on a movie, and it is a movie that I had been wanting to watch, so this encouraged me to go ahead and watch it. That movie is Arrival, which was done 2 years ago. This song was at the beginning, and at the end of this movie. This movie is about extraterrestrial beings coming to Earth to assist humans to basically form unity with each other. I was so struck by the movie, and so emotional about the movie, and I was just on such a high with it. I am wondering if there is anything more you can tell me about this experience. Karat, are you speaking of the movie itself, or are you speaking of the music from the movie? Guest, well, it is all connected in my mind, because of the song. I was drawn to the movie. The song even said, okay, you need to see the movie now, because this song is in the movie. So it is really the connection of everything, as well as the message of the movie. Kara, yes, and as you may already be aware, this particular movie was brought about by those forces of the light that would bring these messages forward, that the extraterrestrials, as you know them, are not what you had been led to believe for so long now in all of your various movies. There are those movies, of course, that have been brought forth by the light forces, and these movies tell a different story. These movies speak of those of us here in our ships that are benevolent, that are here to help, to assist, to bring the light to you, rather than the darkness. And this particular movie you speak of is one such movie as this. Shoshana, I must share. Kara, yes, Shoshana wishes to share here. Guest, yes, thank you. Shoshana, my dear sister, well, congratulations, your higher self is knocking on your head. Your higher self is knocking at your door. Your higher self is speaking to you clearly. Often we think it is going to be a conversation, but in your case the message is through the music. The message is through the movie. You must pay close attention to these messages that are being given to you in a seemingly subtle way, but it is actually not so subtle, that you would listen to the music, that you would find the movie, that you would watch the movie. It is clearly for you, and your consciousness and your awakening process, to pay close attention to these things, because they are part of your awakening process. It is very important for you to listen again, listen to the nuances of the music, watch closely the messages that are given in the movie, as this is clearly part of your specific awakening process. Much love to you, dear sister. Mammost. Guest, now. Thank you very much. Another guest, I have a question. There is a little girl about 7 years old who has been missing since February 3rd. Her name is Serenity Dennard. She was at the Black Hills Children's Home in Rockerville, South Dakota. I have been in touch with the group before. What I think happened is she just walked away, and people saw her go, and they have had people from all over, helicopters, hundreds of people in between snowstorms, looking around with dogs, and all kinds of things. So my theory is that she has transcended, that she did her life's work. She might have been an angel, I don't know, but I think they are never going to find her, because when I went to my higher self, it was like she brought attention to the Black Hills Children's Home, and what is going on there, in the sense that it is the old 3D way of doing things. I found out about it a few years ago. I thought maybe I would go there and do some work somehow, but never did. So with my intuition, I decided to do what they call ETR energy transfer reset with the place. I was very careful, because it had to be my higher self. It was not my lower self at all. Anybody that went there, anybody that worked there, anybody that visited there had a choice, and their higher self, to change, and somehow this little girl had brought attention to this type of place and to bring the new in, so that people could actually be helped there, the children. My question is, what happened to her? Are they going to find her, or has she transcended, and she has already done her purpose? Kara, at this point, we, those of us who are working here, it is not just myself, Kara, but those of us here in this league, who are participating in this process, and we asked those who mentor to us, whether we could answer this question or not directly as you were asking it. The answer at this time is no, because it is up to you and all of those who are working in this process to find this little girl, to find what happened to her, and to bring an end to the suffering that those who are her loved ones are going through. And it is not for us to be able to share this information at this time. But, with that understanding, it is up to those who are continuing, or we find, now that there is no continuing search going on at this time. Is that correct? Guest, right. Kara, they ended the search. Yes, and it is likely that this one, as you are saying, has completed her contract, you might say. But that is not to say that she has left the body. That is all we can say on this. Anything you can add? Shoshana, you may not be under the same limits here. Shoshana, well, I can share with this one who is asking the question. I can share that this is your path. This is who you are, and you have done all that you can do. We find in your consciousness, my dear sister, some doubt that you did not do all that you could, some doubt that somehow you could have made things different, but you have done all that you could, and you have with a loving heart, and the high consciousness that you are, helped this one to complete her mission, and you must continue with your high heart and the love that you have in your heart to continue to send light and love and understanding, as you have the ability to change things just by your own consciousness and your heart. This one that you speak of, this small little one that you speak of, as we find it, is safe. She has sent us a message as you were speaking, that she is safe. We do not understand what that means. That she is safe in heaven, that she is safe with Source, that she is safe on the ground, we do not know, but she has given us a message, that she is safe. That is what we can share with you, and we must tell you, that you are an amazing being with so much love in your heart, and all that you do, is appreciated at many levels. Namaste. Guest. Thank you. Kara. Very good. Are there other questions here? Guest. I have a question. It is more of a dream I had, and I am looking for the significance. I dreamt that I saw 12 moons lined up in pairs. One of the moons rolled off, and rolled toward me, but when I got it, it was a soccer ball. It had the black and white patches of a soccer ball. I held the ball, and it was a little soft. It lost a little pressure. I was asking myself, should I take it back, or is this a souvenir? I sat there debating with myself. Then a being came, and sat on a chair, and held the ball to the place where that ball should have been to balance the whole thing. So then I said, oh, I'll give it back. So I took it back, and it was placed back where it came off of. So I went inside, and when I came out, there was a whole bunch of people. I am just wondering, it wasn't a message for me, since there were others that were involved. What is the significance of the 12 moons appearing in the sky? Kara, is this a dream that you have had before? In other words, is this a recurring dream, or one time only? Guest. No, I only had it last night. Kara. Yes. We would ask you here, dear sister, what is your understanding that comes from this? It is not so much important that another, such as ourselves, or even Shoshana, would give an interpretation of this, because it is our interpretation, not yours. From your higher self it can be completely different from what another would give to you. Do you understand this? What is your interpretation here? What did you receive already on this? Guest. I have just been thinking about the 12 chakras, that it may be connected to our 12 chakras. Kara. Very good. Shoshana just did here, and that means that she has something that she wishes to share. Is that correct? Shoshana, what we wish to share is, you are being given a very big message. Here, this is a very big message for you in this dream. What we would suggest that you do, and maybe you have already done this, is to write this down in great detail and read it over and over again, as there are many significant things in this dream. And as Kara has stated, you must interpret this for yourself. And the idea that you have connected 12 chakras with 12 moons is very significant. My dear sister, you must continue to ask your higher self to reveal more about this dream. And as things are being revealed to you, they would be revealed to you perhaps in another dream. You must continue to write these things down, and string this information along, because this is part of your awakening process, to learn to understand what the messages are for you. Namaste. Guest. Thank you. Thank you, Shoshana. Thank you, Kara. Kara. Yes. Now we need to move to a point where we can let go of this channel here, release it as the saying goes, and we need to do this now. But before I go, I wish for all of you, all of our brothers and sisters, all of you that are one with us, and we one with you, continue to move in the direction that you are in, being in the perfect now at all times. Yes. It is wonderful to look toward the future, and see all the wonderful things that are coming your way, but also know that those things that are coming your way are already here. If you would but believe that they are, and create that timeline for yourselves. That is all I have. All of my love be with all of you, and that we would find our reunion very soon. Guests, thank you. We love you. Thank you.
I am Ashtar, to be with you once again in these continuing times, In these moments that are yet to separate those who are ready and those who are not. Now that is not to say that many across the planet will pass away in the death process. We would never say that, but that is to say that because of the energies coming into the planet, those who have already come in, and those who are still yet to immerse onto this planet, those waves of energy that have been spoken of that are still yet to come and coming, you are going to experience a great wave of energy in the very near future. Yes, in your month that you are in now, it is coming. Is it going to separate the wheat from the chaff? Not as you understand it, but it is going to bring about a separation of vibration for those who vibrate at the higher levels, and those who vibrate at the lower levels. There will be a separation. Not that they will leave the planet. It is not time yet for that, but it is time for reckoning within yourselves, each and every one on the planet. A reckoning, a reach deep down within yourselves and finding that reverberation within yourselves that connects you to not only this planet, to the Earth, to Gaia, but to all of the planets of the solar system, to the Sun, to all of the central suns of the galaxies, and to the central sun of the universe. Connection to Source itself, of this universe. This is what is happening with these waves of energy, and this one major wave that is coming, that will affect a great many. Not as the changeover or the event that has been spoken of, not yet, but as a major shift in energy that will reverberate across the entire galaxy, as Melchizedek spoke to you about. A reverberation connecting all of you, the way showers, connecting you all together as one again. And you are one, my friends. You are one with each other, you are one with us, in our ships, in our fleets. You are one with the Agarthans, and one with all of the company of heaven, and all of the cosmic beings yet unknown to you. But you will come to know them, for they certainly know of you, each and every one of you. So it is time now to reach deep within yourselves and find that reverberation within you that connects you to the All, because the All is connected to you. I am Ashtar. I always appreciate these times that I can be with you and share in these manners in this way, to continue to assist and help you along the way of this transition that is preparing each and every one of you for the great ascension on this planet. All of my peace and love be with all of you, for now and forevermore.
Greetings. I am Mira from the Pleiadian High Council. I come to you today to help you incorporate some of what is going on with the planet at this time. There is much disturbance on the planet and around it. Vacancies are appearing. You might find some on the planet one day and gone the next. This is occurring through various means: accidents, illnesses, self-inflicted departures, and other ways. Some do not want to experience the ascension and they feel need to leave. Other places and beings are calling them. This is a true battlefield at this moment in the Earth's history. This is called the time of the Great Awakening and the Great Departure. Some have lost hope and others want to go be on another planet. Some are leaving in groups for they have contracts to come and leave together. Others cannot handle the higher frequencies of light. They are not comfortable with the loving energies. Although it may appear the dark is winning, this is not so. They are diligently working to maintain their old stronghold to little avail. Do not believe what you hear in the mainstream media. Most of you should be able to read through their lies and manipulation. They are transparent and desperate. Even the alternative news on the internet is suspect. The dark gives out some truths and then fold in lies. Some people with fame and reputable stature are falling from their pedestals. Look at all of the babies that are being born right now. These souls cannot wait to experience this amazing time on the planet. They are powerfully awakened beings of light. They came for divine purpose to be the leaders of the new earth. Bless them and watch them shine. They are your beloved teachers and examples of how to live in higher consciousness. Be aware of what is changing around you. Take notice of what no longer serves you or who you are no longer comfortable around. Pay attention to the beauty of nature. Take nothing for granted except your enlightened pathway with the Creator and others of similar mind. Consciousness is what you develop in this earth plane and what you take with you when you leave your physical. Your soul travels with you also. The brevity of this report is intended to clearly show you succinctly what to do. We cannot do it for you, but we are with you. We are completely committed to you and have your best interests at heart. Remember to look to the skies, to ask us for help and to never give up. You are the masters who are here to accomplish the ascension of the earth. You will be successful. We are together and count on you to be the gifts of light and to do your jobs. I am Mira with loving blessings.